in this country is there's been a lot of talk about like frivolous lawsuits and things like that.
Sure.
Have you ever had to file a lawsuit against anybody?
No.
No? Has anyone ever filed on you?
No.
No? No, nobody for insulting them or anything like that?
No. Why? Where are you going with this? You know something?
No. So,
And we're recording.
All right. Hey, so today I wanted to talk about something a little different.
Okay.
So I was looking through the news, and I happened to see this case involving McDonald's. So there was, I think this happened in Fort Lauderdale, and there was a case where a family went to McDonald's. I think they might have went to the drive-thru. I don't have that information at the moment, but they ordered some food. It was like a family with kids in the back.
Okay.
And they got like some chicken nuggets and stuff for the kids, and they were like driving off, and one of the chicken nuggets kind of came out of the case or whatever, or fell out, and got wedged in on one of the kids' legs, like between their leg and their car seat or something like that.
Ouch.
Yeah. And caused second-degree burns.
Oof.
So apparently, like, the child was like screaming in pain, so long story short, the family ended up suing McDonald's for negligent food prep, or not warning, or like why the chicken nuggets were even that hot. They
Wait,
won.
do we know how hot they were?
It said it somewhere in there. I don't know the degree. But it was found that they were like unreasonably hot.
Huh.
And I don't know how much money the family won, but they did win the lawsuit.
Do you know if the kid's okay?
Yeah, the kid's okay.
Okay.
So I mean, no surgery or anything like that, but it's just interesting. This is the second time I've heard of McDonald's being in a lawsuit for like hot food.
You're talking about the coffee thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And and I know, like, people go to fast food place and typically want hot food, but I guess there's a limit.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I remember when the whole coffee incident happened.
Yeah.
And if it was just a court of public opinion, that was a very frivolous lawsuit.
Okay.
Although since then I've seen it was like a mini it was like a docu-series about different frivolous things, and they covered the coffee spilling incident.
Yeah.
But also, I have some friends that are attorneys, and I had made comments about that, and they were like, "Oh, it's not as straightforward as you think it is. It's actually taught in law school now, and it's not as frivolous as I thought it was either. If I would just listen to the news, it sounded ridiculous, but in reality, the woman received third-degree burns.
Yeah, with that coffee.
Yeah. And I mean, there were some circumstances, like I think she was in her grandson's car. It was like a Ford Probe or something, and it didn't have what do you call them? Cup holders. And she ended up spilling the coffee, but she sustained third-degree burns and had to have skin grafts and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And she was originally awarded the money that she was asking for to cover her medical expenses, which I believe was it was hundreds of thousands of dollars, wasn't it? I think it was
I don't know the dollar amount in that
I was
one,
looking it
but
up here. I think it was something like 300,000 or something like that. But then there's the other aspect of a lot of these lawsuits where they try to like prove a point. They try to punish whoever is liable.
yeah.
And the jury decided to award her like $2.5 million or something like that, which the judge reduced to hundreds of thousands. But all you saw in the paper was woman sues McDonald's for millions of dollars after spilling coffee on herself.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't that
Right.
straightforward.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah. And I remember the same thing. I remember thinking that you know, like you ordered coffee, like you ordered hot coffee, what, you know, and thinking that she probably like burned her tongue or something like that until I actually looked into it and realized it was
It was
way
like
more.
her legs and private area. And
Yeah.
she had to get skin grafts.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. Yeah. So yeah, I think one thing that came up in this country is there's been a lot of talk about like frivolous lawsuits and things like that.
Sure.
Have you ever had to file a lawsuit against anybody?
No.
No. Has anyone ever filed on you?
No.
No. No. Nobody for like insulting them or anything like that.
No. Why? Where are you going with this? You know something?
No. So so personally, like I've never been sued or anything, but I feel like there should be, like, I'm okay with some of these lawsuits. I actually feel like there should be more. Like people should sue. People should
Wait a second. You think there should be more lawsuits?
yeah, like like we have the power in this country to take somebody to court, and
Are you being serious right now?
yeah, I mean serious. Like like I don't necessarily believe there's frivolous lawsuits.
See, I think a lot of these get thrown out before we hear about them.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
But I still think it's a waste of the court's time and the public's money.
yeah, but the court's there like for a reason. They need to be tested on these laws, tested on their knowledge.
You're
like,
seriously being
interpreting-
serious? Like,
Yeah.
like why would you want them all clogged up with what you're
Well-
calling frivolous
well,
lawsuits
the thing-
when there were real problems out there that the court should be?
The problems are being taken care of.
Are they?
They're not like we can't hear your case because there's there's another case of somebody who skinned their knee on some gravel.
I don't know. I think that is what's happening because some of these court cases are scheduled way out.
Yeah, listen, we hear a lot in this country about false advertisements, things like that, and if people were held more accountable, you may not have
Wait a second.
situations like this. So
Wait a second.
know-
Before you go on to your next one here, let me just go back to the chicken nugget one now after what you said. Do you believe that one was frivolous?
no, because
You think the hot chicken nugget was legit?
yeah, I think so.
Now, do you think the coffee one was legit?
Oh yeah, because after reading on that one, and that lady had
Okay,
Yeah.
I would agree with you on the coffee one. Here's the problem with the chicken nugget one.
Mm-hmm.
I only know what you just told me.
okay.
So on that, it feels unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like I need more information.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you labeled it frivolous. I don't know. Now you're saying it's not frivolous.
Okay, well, listen. Even if it's frivolous, I'm not saying that it should not go to court. There are some because I guess your definition of frivolous is may vary. So yeah, but there can be frivolous lawsuits that seem to be not as serious as like a criminal case. But that doesn't mean it shouldn't get the time of day in a courtroom.
Okay. I mean, I don't want things just to be thrown out, but I also feel like, an experienced judge could look at it and go, should we hear this or is this a waste of time?
Well, some of these things they can't necessarily go to like all like a small claims court, you know, because I think that is what some people are looking for when they hear like about a frivolous lawsuit. They're thinking that something should go, maybe not be as in a court so high as like a district or a circuit court. It should be like on a small claims.
Oh, okay. So you're just talking about like when somebody just sues for a couple $100 or something like that.
Well, no. Like, I'm okay with somebody going to a larger court.
Oh, okay. I'm hearing it in reverse.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So, but what I'm saying is that I think that people who will complain about frivolous lawsuits are thinking that those cases shouldn't be in a higher court, that they should be somewhere smaller, like in a small claims, and they shouldn't be awarded all that money.
Okay.
You know, like for instance, this lady with the chicken nuggets,
Right.
you know, that went up to a higher court. That wasn't the small claims, you know, where some people, you know, like, do you think it should have been a small claims court or no court case whatsoever?
Do you know what they were seeking? I mean, you said that they won, right?
Yeah, they won. I just didn't see a disclosed amount or what they were asking for. It just says
I'm looking
that,
it up here, and it says that the plaintiff was, in the case, was initially awarded nearly $3 million, but she settled for less after an appeal.
Oh, on the chicken nuggets.
Yeah. It also says this case stirs of echoes of the famous McDonald's hot coffee lawsuit, which we already talked about. We're on the this website and me are on the same page.
Yeah, it says. It also says in this article that the child's screams were played in the courtroom. So that was the other thing, is that they, which I don't know how they recorded that.
Yeah, wait a second. How did they record that?
Because
it's like, if you heard one of your kids screaming, would you reach for your phone to take a video, or would you maybe just run to help?
So I don't know how much they were asking for. What did it say in there that she settled for a lower amount?
Yeah. She was asking for, or no, she was initially awarded nearly $3 million, but she settled for less after an appeal.
Oh, okay. Well, listen. I think the lesson being learned is that that it isn't for McDonald's as a whole. Maybe for that particular branch, but it could be for other locations as well. Is that like, to tell people once something comes out, like, be careful, this is hot, and maybe they'll be cautious.
Yeah, or they change their packaging, or
Yeah.
or it's hard with food prep.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't worked that industry, so I don't necessarily know.
Yeah.
There's got to be certain temperatures they need to be brought to so that they're safe.
Yeah. And then the other thing I'm wondering too is because most parents, like, you order your kids a little Happy Meal, and then you're at the drive-through, you get your food, and then if you're on the road, like if you're not just going home, you may just toss it, hand it to them in the back seat, and kids are just eating it back there. So,
do you think there should almost be like, let me just set this on the passenger seat for 5 minutes before I hand it to you?
That could be an option. Yeah,
Okay.
Or they could have just been like, hey, watch out for them chicken nuggets. They just came out. Just a little warning. So there's been a few other cases that I saw in here that people would probably consider frivolous.
Okay.
But that I kind of agree with these, and I'm glad that these kind of made the time of day, and that they won.
Now that you said you agree with them, I can't wait to hear them.
Okay. So the first thing that I saw was a case from 2016, and there was a gentleman ended up suing Red Bull because of the Red Bull's slogan, "Red Bull gives you wings." Was considered false advertising
because it doesn't give you wings.
Yeah, and that the customer was disappointed that the Red Bull didn't energize them like advertised.
Wait, now did this happen in this country?
This one did. Yes.
You think this one happened
I
in
think
this
I
country?
think this one did.
Okay. Because I'm kind of looking it up as you're talking here, and I thought it happened in Canada.
Oh, this one did. Okay.
Did it happen in Canada?
Let me
Because I don't
see.
really know the Canadian laws, but my deal
Oh
is
yes. Okay.
my deal is that I watch a lot of John Oliver, and there was a whole thing on there where they were talking about frivolous suits, and he made me believe, at least, that if it was done in jest, or if it was so ridiculous that nobody would believe that it's real, that it was okay. I mean, why would you think a drink would give you wings?
Well, he may have been persuaded by their advertisements. There's no indication on the thing that said otherwise.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you're a rational person, why would you think it gave you wings? I mean, like if a drink said it would make you taller and it didn't, would you think, but the drink said it would make me taller?
Yeah, well,
Especially like if you're already a fully grown adult.
so in a lot of these companies, they use very figurative language. So if he's thinking that it's not going to actually give him wings, but he's going to be highly energized to the point of, and it doesn't do that.
Okay. I could see that. So you're saying that they were advertising that it would give you all this energy, aka wings,
Yeah.
but he felt it didn't give him energy.
None of it. And if I see your ad and I'm like, you know what, this is exactly what I need, because usually I am low energy, especially at a certain time of day. And then I take this and it makes me sluggish, or I just don't feel any effects. I'm like, this is crap.
Okay. I can see that feels less frivolous, but saying it didn't give him physical wings feels ridiculous.
Yeah. So this one, he actually settled out of court and won about $640,000. So good on this guy. You think that Red Bull changed any slogans, that they, said anything like effects may vary per individual?
Did they?
I don't know.
I don't. I'm not seeing it on whatever I pulled up here. We might not be looking at the same thing.
So I don't know. I'm just, I'm sure that, something had to happen for them to, continue after this lawsuit. Okay. So the next one is this happened in China.
Okay.
All right. And this was 2012. And there was a gentleman who was having children with a woman. And, before, I guess, not in her previous life, but before that they were together, she had some plastic surgery or some, facial enhancements. So she was very beautiful. And, they go and they have a child, and the child is not, looking right. So the husband sued his wife for having an ugly child.
Okay. Okay. I don't even know where to start with this one.
Yeah, the thing I don't understand is how you can sue your wife.
Yeah,
Because-
that makes no sense to me.
I mean, you got because it's your money. You're still your money. How are you doing that?
That's true too. Yeah. I was also just thinking that it's your wife.
Yeah,
And maybe you shouldn't sue her. But
Yeah.
what the hell? Like, first of all, was this a really ugly baby? That's so bad for me to say.
Yeah.
Because here's my deal.
Yeah.
What does it matter what the kid looks like?
Well, the thing is, you may be.
Are we talking about monster levels here, where like the town folk run?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead and pull up a picture and listen.
Well, no, I meant the kid. You know what? I have pulled up a picture here, and I I see the wife, and she does look very different.
Yeah.
But
So listen, this is another case of false advertising, you know,
I mean,
because he may not have been with her for the looks, but when they have a child and he's like, I'm handsome, you're very attractive. Our child is going to look incredible. And then
how did he even know that she had plastic surgery? What was the? I mean, how did this has really got me messed up here?
Yeah.
Has the kid said, or has the dad said something like, "Gee, how could this kid be so screwed up? Did you have plastic surgery?" And then she just blurted it out.
No,
Because couldn't she just keep her mouth shut about it?
well, the husband was thinking that she was unfaithful, because he's like, how does this child come out not looking beautiful
Oh,
when we're both
interesting.
beautiful?
That's not mine. And then she admits she had
Yes.
plastic surgery.
Yes, right. So he won $120,000 in this case, which goes to show you that you need to be forthcoming with your looks when you're in a relationship.
That's pretty messed up.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, yeah, I don't know. I don't understand now when I, don't know how you can sue your wife. I would be confused where the money's going. Like, it's like you're taking it out of your left pocket and putting it in your right. So, I don't know. But we have situations here in the U.S. where, luckily I'm not in a dating scene anymore, but, situations where, men and women out there, constantly run into issues where, they go on a first date and, the person that they've been talking to, like if they meet on a dating site, the person they've been talking to doesn't look like the picture when they meet in person.
Yeah, with filters and whatnot, or just taking a creative picture.
Yeah.
The husband suing the wife reminds me of this was a couple years ago. There were parents that sued their son to move out.
Oh yeah.
He was 30 years old.
Yeah.
He didn't have a job. He didn't seem like he wanted to do anything.
Yeah.
They kept telling him to move out. They tried to get an apartment and get him to move out, and then finally they tried to evict him. And they went to court, and I remember his whole side of it on the side, or in the court, was that he deserved, like, it was something like 60 or 90 days notice or something like that. He was citing it as if he was renting from somebody. He wasn't renting. As far as they were concerned, he was squatting, and he was like, they were like, get out. But the court ended up siding with the parents, and the kid was forced to move out.
Oh wow.
It's got to be awkward Thanksgiving.
Oh, for sure.
Actually, I remember there were some interviews where even after they sued him, he was still living at home. So he said it got real awkward, like around the refrigerator.
Yes. Yeah, I would like to know if he actually ended up moving out. Like, how do you enforce that out afterwards?
I believe he did. Forced to move out here. I'm looking it up here. Oh no, he was demanding, 6 months notice. 6 months. Ugh. Entitled people.
Yeah, that's insane. Wow.
Don't birds, like parents of, like, parent birds, I want to say mommy and daddy birds, don't they just push them out of the nest if they were refusing to try to fly?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're taking lessons from the birds.
Sooner or later you got to either hit that ground or open your wings.
Yeah. Okay, so before I move on, I have a question. So I've heard like a little bit about slap suits,
Mm.
but I don't know exactly like what that is.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Again, I watch a lot of John Oliver,
Okay.
and he got hit with what could be called or defined as a slap suit.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, according to the internet, a slap suit is just an acronym for a strategic lawsuit against public participation. And according to the John Oliver show I was watching, it's basically a form of bullying
Mm-hmm.
where, let's say, there's a big corporation or somebody with means that's doing something you don't like. Even if you say something about it, if they decide that they don't like what you've said,
Mm-hmm.
they can just sue you. And they can say it's slander or you're negatively impacting their bottom line or their brand or whatever. And if you don't have the means to deal with something like that, and they ask for a very large amount, it might scare you off.
Yeah.
You know, they might say, hey, this $30 million lawsuit can go away if you just shut up. or they might just, it might be frivolous from the standpoint that, we have free speech and things like that. But, they might just tie you up in court knowing that they're never going to win,
Yeah.
but they'll cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars that maybe you don't have
Right.
to try to intimidate you. It's pretty bad. A lot of states have anti-slap legislation, but there were a couple states that are very open. And even if the two parties aren't from that state, I think you can still file a lawsuit in that state. So the problem is because there's a couple holes in the system, it allows these bullying situations to happen. I'm not saying that nobody's ever been slandered or nobody's ever,
Yeah. Right.
harmed somebody with words, but I think sometimes this is just used just to suppress things and make things go away in kind of a bullying fashion.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. So mainly used by like a larger corporation.
Yeah. The one that was brought up in the John Oliver show was he had done a report on a coal mine owner, and the coal mine owner sued him. And the case really didn't go anywhere, but tied him up for, I want to say, like a year or two or something. And you got to pay lawyers and everything else to deal with that.
Right.
And of course, the person said that it wasn't a slap suit. And then HBO and their lawyers were like, it kind of fits the definition of a slap suit.
Yeah.
It was kind of messed up to see.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, so I wonder if this one, this may not have fall into the same parameters, but there was a case in 2002, and this was in Pennsylvania, and there were two teenagers who like trespassed on like Amtrak railroad property.
Oh, okay.
And
Are you about to tell me that they sued for something after trespassing?
Yeah. Actually, they got severely injured and burned by some electrical wires, even though they were trespassing on his property. And they ended up winning. It was two teenagers. And then I don't know how long the court case took, but they were, older by the time, but they won like $24 million, like a total between the two of them, I guess. They won that for trespassing on the property, even though they got injured.
So what was their side? Like, they're obviously saying, what was it, Amtrak?
Mm-hmm.
They're saying Amtrak was liable for their injuries.
Mm-hmm.
But why were they saying that?
Because even though they were trespassing, there wasn't any, like, it was still an unsafe area,
Mm-hmm.
but they were basically, the trespassing was because it was like private property, not
Sure.
because it was unsafe. So that was the majority of their lawsuit was.
So you're saying that they were saying they were alleging that Amtrak didn't tell them or warn them of the danger?
Right. And that the
It
trespassing
just said
was like
no
private,
trespassing.
yeah,
It didn't say this
right,
is dangerous.
Right.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know.
I mean, I kind of feel like they shouldn't have been trespassing.
Yeah, true.
But at the same time, I do think that dangerous things should be labeled dangerous.
Yeah. And even though I'm like for lawsuits, I don't necessarily think they should have won this one. Because I think that, most people would perceive no trespassing as that, or wouldn't even have the gall to be like, I'm in the right here because even though I was on your property when I shouldn't.
Were they originally convicted of trespassing?
That I'm not sure of. I didn't see that in the article. I know that they tried to use that, like the defense tried to use that they were trespassing, and they knew they were trespassing, but
yeah, stuff like that always freaks me out.
Yeah.
Like even if I'm doing something in my yard where nobody else should be,
Yeah.
like I remember putting in my underground sprinkling, and I had to dig trenches all over the yard to place the pipe in the ground. I thought, whatever trenches I dig that day, I want to make sure I've got enough time in the day to put all the pipes and the sprinklers in and bury it back up.
Yeah.
Because I just thought, what if I sleep in a little bit tomorrow? I mean, I'm tired from doing all this work today. And someone comes along and trespasses in my yard and then breaks their ankle or something. And then all of a sudden I'm liable, but I'm thinking, what are you doing in my yard?
Yeah. I've always wondered about those things. I've seen some videos where, like one in particular, it was like this couple were stealing packages off a porch, and someone had like a Ring camera. That's how all this got on video. But they like pulled up to this house. A woman runs out, steal the package, and on her way back to the vehicle, she like tripped over something and broke her ankle. I don't know if that ended up going to court, but like, are you liable for something like that? Like someone stealing something off your property and they get hurt. So I could see someone like.
I feel like in today's court system, you would be liable.
Yeah.
But in my head, I would think that's called karma.
Yeah. Yeah.
You stole from me and then you got hurt.
Yeah.
Maybe don't steal.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I need to rethink my position on these frivolous lawsuits.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. So my last one, a little interesting. It'll be good to get your take on this. So this happened overseas, and there was a woman who was getting ready to like go to work, and she was listening to the weather report, and it called for like fair weather, sunny skies. So she dressed for that, but it ended up being rainy, and she didn't dress appropriately for rainy weather. She ended up getting sick from being out in the weather and not dressed properly, and she ended up like getting the flu, and sued the weather station for false weather prediction. Now,
For how much?
well, she won $1,000, and this was like settled out of court. And then she got an apology from the weatherman. Do you think that's sufficient?
I mean, the way that weather is predicted is, I mean, there is modeling, there is science that goes into it. There are computer models that are ran to try to figure out what's going to happen. But I think we all realize that it's a little more difficult than, I mean, most weather people are wrong a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think it's their fault. They're doing their best to give you an idea of what could happen.
But there is so much money into these weather satellites, and so much money into like making the forecast look like professional and knowledgeable. So for someone to be like, it's gonna be sunny out and then it rains, you know.
But I look at the weather to try to plan my week, and sometimes it'll say, "Oh, it's going to be 3 days of raining," and it'll be, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then all of a sudden by Sunday it'll go, you know what? It's still going to be 3 days of raining, but it's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and it's moved from Monday.
Yeah.
And I don't think, oh, that's terrible. I think, well, at least it gave me an idea of what could happen.
Yeah.
And I think it's more than a guess, but I don't think you should get sued for it if it's wrong. I mean,
yeah, but what if it's something more significant? What if you're going to like a business meeting and they say that it's gonna be rainy weather, so you bring an umbrella and maybe a hoodie, and come to find out it's not rainy, it's sunny. And now you're walking around with this umbrella and you look silly in this business meeting. And now the people are like, why you got an umbrella when it's sunny outside? And now.
Yeah, I mean, but to get sued over it?
Yeah, I don't know. But once again, I think that my biggest point was like, do we go around and not worry about what we do and say, and we just no consequences.
I guess there just has to be some understanding of the situation.
Okay.
Like when you first said the Red Bull gives you wings and it didn't give him wings, and I thought you were talking about actual physical wings. I thought, get this guy out of here.
Yeah.
But if he's talking about a level of energy, it wasn't. I mean, because it's an energy drink, so if it's not doing it, then okay, that seems more realistic than complaining about the weather. It's like, come on.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, these things, they affect people differently, and I mean, it could have been like this lady. She got sick. She ended up getting the flu.
I mean, let me ask you a question. If you were to go to like a nursery that sells plants, and you were to buy a strawberry plant, and you took it home, you planted it, you cared for it, the plant grew and produced strawberries, but they weren't as big as you thought they were going to be. Would you then sue the nursery?
I don't know if I would sue, but
isn't that along the same lines? Like,
yeah, but what if
they can't predict what size strawberries that plant is going to produce? There's a lot of variables that go into that.
Yeah, but what if it says on? I mean, I don't know. Like, there's got to be some indication. They would probably put that description on the, on the grow card or something.
What if it said it produces great strawberries?
Okay.
And you were like, this isn't good enough. It's not great. It's just there's good.
Yeah. Then I will call the company and be like, hey, listen, these are just okay. These aren't great like your thing says, so I want a discount.
That's messed up.
Yeah. Actually, I'm not that type of person. I probably would just deal with it.
Yeah, I would think that maybe I didn't give it enough fertilizer. It wasn't getting enough sun or something.
Yeah, but I don't know if I ended up feeling like inconvenienced enough, then possibly, I don't know. Like the problem is, personally, I wouldn't. So I try to understand the minds of the people who go that far. you know.
Oh, okay, okay. So if I were to the nursery and there was one plant that I knew was going to give smaller strawberries than the other plant, and then I saw you and I thought, I hate that guy. And then I was like, here is the worst plant. But you still got strawberries, but they weren't as big as they could have been. Then you would know that the intent in my heart is just pure evil.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you
for
would
sure.
know that you were screwed out of a great strawberry experience.
Yeah, because you were evil.
I have that evil strawberry guy face.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Yeah. So you never been part of like a class action lawsuit, anything like that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've gotten letters in the mail that says that you're part of this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
They always say, send in this form, and then, if there's a settlement, I can get part of it. And I always think, where's the garbage?
Yeah. What? You don't even
Have you ever sent in one of those?
actually I was part of a class action. I don't think I had to do anything. It was like through my bank, like Bank of America.
Oh, you know what? You know what? Now that you're pointing that out, I think this was years ago. I had purchased a home, and there was some type of class action suit against, I want to say it was the title company or something. And I think I got a check for like $12.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I guess technically I was.
Yeah.
Although I didn't do anything. They sent me a letter and said, here's your $12. And I was like, oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been a few. There's been like a ridiculous amount of class action lawsuits that I remember getting in the mail, or somehow that would involve me. But a couple of them you had to like send stuff in. I didn't send anything in, but there was a few where it's like you're automatically included in this. You don't have to do anything, and if it wins, you'll get $3.50, $3.50.
Yeah.
Or something. So, but I don't know.
Hey, if I ever get one of those letters where they're like, and if we win, everyone gets $1 million, I'll fill out the form. But when they say like, you could win, you could be awarded up to like $7, I'm kind of like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying $7 is nothing, but I'm also kind of like, I don't know if it's worth me stopping whatever I was doing to fill that out, and then I don't even know if I have stamps here. I'd probably have to go get stamps, and
you're gonna spend more in gas.
Probably. Then I'd go to the post office.
So going back to this McDonald's case for a moment, the woman from that older case with the coffee.
Yes.
So do you think she could have sued for more because her case was like she was almost like ridiculed?
Yeah, this actually reminds me of I'm sorry, I'm
No,
interrupting.
go ahead.
Well, it reminds me of do you remember a couple years ago when this woman was on the news and they were labeling her as the world's worst aunt?
Oh no, I don't think I heard this.
Let me see if I can look this up. There was a woman, and she went over to, it was like her brother or sister's house or something, and they had a 12-year-old son, so the woman's nephew, and the kid really liked his aunt, and he was so excited he ran over and tried to jump into her arms and broke her wrist.
Oh,
it was an accident.
Yeah.
He was just really excited. So accidents happen.
Yeah.
So then this woman didn't have I believe she didn't have medical insurance. So the homeowners were like, well, we have homeowners insurance and it'll cover your medical bill, which turned out to be, I think it was like $100 and some $1,000 or something after all the surgery and everything else. And so you don't just get access to the homeowner's insurance. You get access to it through a lawsuit. So they said, file a lawsuit against us and the homeowner's insurance will pay out and then you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So then the news outlets proceeded to pick this up as an aunt whose nephew was only excited to see him or see her, jumps into her arms with joy. She ends up breaking her wrist and suing the family.
Oh,
But that's not how it went down.
Right.
Now, the public, mostly the news organizations, perpetuated this garbage to the point where she couldn't get a job because her name was known with this. She had to legally change her name.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like, hey, if something like that happened to one of my friends and it was an accident and I'm insured and it happened to my property, I would probably be like, look, why don't we do something like this?
Yeah.
And it doesn't make them bad. It's just how the system happens to work. I mean, what was she supposed to do?
Right.
But I remember back in the day, and I want to say it was Fox, that after it had happened and all the news agencies slammed her, her and her nephew went on various news organizations to be interviewed, and they both were like, no, she's not bad. She's great.
Yeah.
And you guys should stop saying this. And I remember on Fox, it said in the tag across the bottom, interviewing world's worst aunt.
Oh,
and then they
dang.
were like, oh, you do seem really
Oh,
nice.
wow.
And oh, I guess it was all just a misunderstanding. Meanwhile, you've labeled her right below her picture as world's worst. What are you doing?
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. She should have sued.
It was just, it was ridiculous. First of all, how it's not like this family called these news organizations was like, hey, could you ruin this person's life?
Right.
They found the story, they picked it up, they ran with it, and it just felt like they didn't have all the facts. And then even when they did get the facts, they didn't stop.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty messed up, especially for a news organization. You would think that they would, have some foresight into, into that.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of these news organizations are a little more worried about ratings and
true.
a little less worried about what the facts are.
Yeah, exactly. So, the interesting thing, though, about all these like lawsuits and things that are happening is now it feels like in our current social climate, there's a lot of people kind of getting judged like it's a court of public opinion type of thing. Something will happen. It goes like viral on social media,
Right.
and then it's almost like that's your court case because people will like find you, they'll find where you work, tell your job, get you fired, and and that's it. It's like that's your court case right there. You did something wrong, and
Yeah, I'm getting a little tired of that
Yeah.
because I feel like sometimes people are taking advantage of that. There's been like recently, there's been at least the last couple of years, there's been a lot of things on social media and in the news about like Karens. Like you
Right.
know what I'm talking about when I
Yeah,
say Karen. Okay,
Yeah.
doing pretty screwed up stuff. And hey, some of them get dogged out and shamed, publicly shamed,
Yeah.
and I don't necessarily have a problem with that.
Yeah.
But I feel like we need all the facts before we start doing that. And sometimes there's just a little tiny bit.
Yeah.
Have you heard of this woman who I think she worked for a hospital? Now I'm forgetting some of the stories here. But she got involved in an argument with a kid over these city bikes. Have you seen these city bikes?
I heard. I know a little bit about this, but not much.
Okay, so basically in a lot of larger cities, there's public bikes that are available, and you download an app and you you walk up to them and you're like, hey, there's a bike in whichever, there's like a connector thing you put it into, like a cradle or something. And you pick the bike and it unlocks it and then you can take it. But then that bike is registered towards you.
Yeah.
So these kids argued with her and basically were like, you're taking my bike. And the public slammed her because first she was freaking out and crying, and then she got kind of upset and started calling the police. And then everyone was like, where's your tears now? Where's your tears? And she's like, but this is my bike. Well, the kid was saying it was his bike. Now it's come out that this is what happened. Because with all these apps and everything, it's all everyone, if you purchase the bike, there's a log for it.
Yeah.
So evidently she purchased the bike, and then she said in the police report that the kids were hassling her and forced her to push the bike back into the holder. And then they rented the bike and pulled the bike back out. But she was on it and she was arguing with them.
Oh, okay.
So she initially did purchase the bike, unlocked it, and then they were messing with her and forced her to cause it to go back in.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the only bike there, why this was going down. But then they did legitimately rent the bike.
Yeah.
But they kind of forced the scenario. So now I don't feel that bad for these kids. Like in the beginning, the media really made it sound like this woman is a monster. And now I'm thinking, oh, she got kind of screwed over there. And I think, huh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only part I heard of the story, because I saw a couple clips of it, but I didn't know what was going on. And then I saw something, for me, it was out of context, because someone was just stating that same thing, that, the bike was rented for like 7 seconds.
Right.
And then it was, rented again, or,
Yeah. It was something like that. And then to compound the whole issue, it's a white woman and a black kid.
Yeah.
And there's been so many situations, like, wasn't it just like 2 years ago where a woman accused some, like a black teenager of stealing her cell phone, got into a physical altercation with the kid, and finally the store owner was like, let me call your phone. And then her purse rang.
Yeah.
And it was like,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
well, now you've assaulted a child.
Right.
And
Yeah.
And in those situations, I think publicly shame her.
Yeah.
But in this bike scenario, because I saw it when it first came out, and then I saw the update.
Yeah.
And when it first came out, I was like, Karen.
Yeah.
And then when I heard more about it, I was like,
Yeah.
it's kind of her bike.
Yeah. Dang. Yeah, it's rough. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Like sometimes all the facts aren't out there.
Yeah. And I don't really think our current level of news is helping with that. I think they're exacerbating this problem.
Yeah, true. Well, let me know what you all think in the comments. If you've got some interesting lawsuit situations, if you've been involved in a lawsuit, frivolous or not, and the outcome of that, that would be great to hear.
Or maybe just some comments about the court of public opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe you heard one thing and you felt one way, and then you got more information, and then you were like, wait, now I don't side with that person anymore.
Yeah. That would be good to hear. So just drop us a line in the comments.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, see you next time.
All right. Bye.